This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. A desperate search is underway for an entangled southern right whale calf off the state's east coast. Experts are warning the outcome could be fatal if they don't reach the distressed mammal in time.
Rescuers are racing against the clock to find these two whales, believed to be a mother and her young calf entangled in rope and a buoy, just visible in this image. The alarm was raised yesterday after the pair were sighted here in Binalong Bay. Those leading the air and sea search say the outcome could be fatal.
The entangling material seems to be reasonably fresh. We think it's probably within a month or 2 months. We can see it starting to cut into the flesh. Once that starts to happen, as this animal migrates the vast distances down to the Southern Ocean, that material will just continually to cut in, and we expect that an entanglement of this type will kill the whale within a year or so.
Whale sightseeing operator David Duggan was among the first to spot the pair yesterday.
The mother, she was distressed, and she actually came to the boat and laid sort of right alongside the boat as if to say, come on, please help us. But there was nothing we could do, and the calf would only come up. It wasn't actually breaking the surface, it was just coming up enough to take a breath.
If crews find the marine giants, they'll still need to decide if a response is safe or even possible. Marine conservation teams also enlisted the help of police as the desperate search expanded as far away as Freycinet National Park. Experts say the risk of entanglements is heightened this time of the year as the species migrate along Australia's east coast.
So they really are a species that's at risk of entanglement, but they are quite cryptic. They don't have a dorsal fin. They can stay underwater for quite a long time and then be quite shy when they come to the surface, which would make the group's job today quite difficult in terms of resighting them.
Anyone who spots the whales or others in distress is urged to keep their distance and contact the whale hotline. Sean McComish, Southern Cross News.
A coroner will soon start examining the case of North Hobart shopkeeper Vula Delios, who was stabbed to death in 2016. Earlier this month, the Hobart judge found Daryl Royson Wayne Cook not guilty of Mrs Delios's murder on grounds of insanity. He was ordered to be held in a secure mental health facility indefinitely. Now, on October 2nd, Coroner Simon Cooper will begin the first stages of coronial hearings into her death, with a case management conference at the Hobart Magistrates Court. A father and daughter are lucky to be alive after a fire broke out in the roof of their home overnight. The 12-year-old girl was asleep in the living room when heat from a chimney flue sparked the blaze in the Whitemore property. The man returned to find the room filled with smoke and the two made a quick escape. The incident caused an estimated $120,000 damage. Tasrail has confirmed an on-site remote control system is to blame for a runaway train in Devonport on Friday morning. It says a driver was not on board at the time the system lost control. The company also assuring the remote control technology was being used successfully for more than 15 years. Efforts to clean up the site are ongoing as further investigations into the incident continue. Launceston's council has jumped on board the push for a tourist train line in the state's northeast, today passing a motion that the project should extend from Scottsdale to Waina. Supporters of the rail say the project will boost tourism in the state if it goes ahead.
If we can take tourists from Launceston through to the Lavender Farm, because it gets 85,000 tourists a year to the Lavender Farm, and we believe that bringing them in by a train will add to the experiences that they can have in Launceston.
The proposal was previously outside Launceston's jurisdiction, with initial plans for the line ending at Lilydale. A critical lack of tradies could hold up construction across Tasmania, with hundreds more workers needed to keep up with demand. But with apprentices offered only a minimal wage, concerns have been raised about how we're going to attract more people to the industry.
This builder is booked out for the next 8 months, a symbol of our booming construction industry.
I myself have 2 apprentices, looking at possibly putting on a 3rd next year, and I know a lot of other companies are putting on apprentices as well.
But Tasmania is suffering from a long-standing and chronic lack of tradies, and unions are worried it's getting worse. Building and construction apprenticeships are on the rise, but still more are urgently needed.
In the key trade areas of construction, manufacturing and tourism and hospitality, the market demand is there. We need a significant number of apprentices and trainees.
There obviously won't be enough tradesmen to do the jobs required. There'll be a longer waiting time, possibly prices will rise.
The state government does offer incentives, $7.5 million in grants for small businesses taking on an apprentice. But with some first years earning around $12 an hour, experts say we will never attract the numbers needed, as many leave Tasmania to seek better pay.
We want to encourage that so they get lots of experience, but quite often because of the pay rates they won't come back to Tasmania.
For an hourly rate, I think obviously we might be a little bit lower down the scale to the mainland counterpart, but I think that for the livability and the cost of living in Tasmania, we're pretty good, we're on par.
We are getting the momentum that we need, but as we all know, it takes about 4 years to train an apprentice, so you really need to have a bit of stargazing and get that apprentice at an early age to train them.
Experts say the specialty trades are now most in demand, including tilers, bricklayers and painters. Michelle Wisby, Southern Cross News.
An expert panel has been assembled in an attempt to fix Hobart's increasing traffic congestion. The RACT's Greater Hobart Mobility Vision panel will create a 30-year plan for the city as more people travel into the CBD on a daily basis. The panel includes a range of different experts to discuss everything from the construction of bike paths, a ferry, light rail or more highways.
Rapid population growth, we're seeing a change in the way that the city works. I think people will be prompted to rethink what's driving their transport choices.
We want to come up with a package of ideas which helps to support affordable, effective, sustainable mobility in and around Greater Hobart in the medium to long term.
Residents will be invited to share their own ideas at a public forum to be held later this year. Local marine researchers are celebrating a breakthrough for a spotted handfish, a critically endangered Tasmanian species. Divers have confirmed the fish are adapting to a new artificial breeding habitat in the Derwent and are spawning right now in good numbers.
This is the underwater view marine researchers were hoping for. A spotted handfish laying its eggs on a new artificial spawning habitat. Divers arriving back from today's survey in the Derwent reporting success off Sandy Bay and Bell Reeve.
Oh, it's a lot of excitement, really. Especially with today when we saw egg mass after egg mass, you know, it's just, it feels good, yeah.
The rare fish is known for its unusual appearance. Only found in sheltered waters of the Derwent, it uses its hand-like fins to walk across the seafloor.
The fact that it walks around on all four legs, it uses its hands to grab hold of hermit crabs and move them away from their eggs. We found them really, really fascinating, as well as very beautiful little fish.
But it's facing habitat destruction from the introduced pest, the Northern Pacific starfish. That is ravaging ascidians, which the handfish uses to spawn.
Handfish very much like to pole dance, and this is usually done on the stalk of an ascidian. When they'll get into their dancing, they dance around and around the pole and adhere their eggs to the bottom of the poles.
Artist Jane Bamford created thousands of artificial ascidians. In the past, plastic has been used, but she created more sturdy and environmentally friendly ceramic ones.
And I knew that they would spawn around ceramic because they did once before in captivity, but to know that they'll do it in the wild and that this has the possibility of having this outcome, this great outcome, yeah, it's really rewarding.
Marine experts think there's around 1,000 spotted handfish left in the lower Derwent estuary. They're listed as critically endangered. But today's news bodes well for the unique little fish.
Quite exciting to work with such a endangered and special animal, and the handfish itself is a really unique creature, and there's really very few animals that are like it.
A good step towards its recovery. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Bragging rights were on the line at Brumby Creek today. Hundreds of students from across the state went head-to-head at the school's trout fishing championships in Cressy. All up, 35 fish were caught, with Deloraine High and Sacred Heart taking out the competition.
Lining up along a 2.5 kilometre stretch of Brumby Creek, these young anglers are casting a line to bag a winner.
They're trying to catch as many trout as they possibly can, and the school or the team with the most number of fish, they get to win some trophies for the day.
For many of these students, picking up a rod was a new experience, one that certainly beats a day in the classroom.
I think it's great and a good chance to get out of school.
To be active, to be outside in the fresh air, to enjoy what this event brings is what we're all about. This is our 10th year doing this, so we're very lucky.
Reeling in this prize was a proud moment for young Spencer Taylor, the grade 5 student claiming the first catch of the day.
Well, it's my first trout, but it's not my first time fishing.
The school's competition is the finale of the Trout Fishing Expo, an event which exceeded expectations this year.
This year was a much more successful event. The weather was a bit kinder to us this year than last year, and that's a big factor.
And for those who want to bag a big one, apparently it's all about the bait.
Worms are probably the best at the moment.
Judy Augustine, Southern Cross News.
It's been one of the most tumultuous years in Tasmanian football history, forcing AFL House to step in and come up with a long-term fix. And tonight we take a look back on the bittersweet season that was. With the state's footballing landscape in crisis mode, AFL Tasmania's new CEO made a bold move.
My second demand is that the working group is formed around this and that Gil McLachlan is on that working group.
To the surprise of many, AFL House actually took note, concocting its grand plan for the future of football in the state, but some weren't exactly chuffed with the outcome.
It has a similar joy factor as having a slow dance with your sister.
Fane's grumpy all the time, I think you guys know that. I reckon he does a lot of slow dances with his sister.
Darren Winter's relationship with AFL Tas is still on the rocks, thanks to his comments on the tribunal system and the hefty fine that followed.
The operations department doesn't seem to want to fix it, and they haven't done anything about it. The clubs have asked for them over and over. If I said too much there, probably, but who cares?
Trent Bamella providing the entertainment throughout the year.
You wake up and you're happy and the sun's shining, even if it's raining.
Just don't ask him about his side's form.
Maybe you got to do a little bit more, mate.
But you guys haven't won the game since round 1.
Exactly. What's your point?
I think that speaks for itself, doesn't it?
North Launceston President Thane Brady managed to outrage half the state with a single social media post.
Those comments obviously weren't really the best to be made on social media and the way that it was gone about with the wording especially.
The women also responding on the field as Glenorchy claimed the TSLW title in a nail-biter against Clarence. North Launceston doing what everyone predicted they would in the men's, capping off what's sure to go down as one of the most historic years in Tasmanian football history. Glenorchy Football Club has been given a big boost as it prepares to head into its 100th year with 2019. The Pies were previously unsure if the former Lynch and Tassie medalists would return to the competition next year, but confirmed the Star Forwards extension earlier today.
Good evening. A cold start to the working week with Lyoweeney delivering a -7 to start things off. Hobart had 13 degrees, Launceston 14, Burnie 12 and Devonport 11. 15 at Friendly Beach is the top as a bit of cloud pushed over the west, south and Bass Strait. Fine and clear over the north. Ouse and Campania 14 degrees. Lowhead, Grove and the Islands 13, St Helens and Strawn 12. Now there is a little bit of cloud over us, mostly over the southwest and western parts of Tasmania in that cellular pool of cold air. An onshore flow due to a high had cloud over Victoria and New South Wales. A southeast flow brought cloud to far north Queensland just a bit, and the rest of the country mostly clear apart from cloud associated with a trough over WA and the Bight. Tomorrow a fairly similar pattern will exist with a high pressure system starting to move over the Western Australian coast. The wind southeast to southwesterly at 5 to 15 knots, variable over the north and inland, southwesterlies to 20 knots over southern waters. Another frosty start tomorrow. The central north, Midlands and east coast on the frost radar, a bit of a warning for those areas. For Hobart, a partly cloudy 13. 13 for Adventure Bay with a shower or two. Partly cloudy for Tarraleah, getting to 10. 15 for Launceston. Mostly sunny for Devonport and 14 degrees and 15 the high for Bridport. For Burnie tomorrow, mostly sunny and 14. 13 the top for Strawn and Marrawar, with the rain staying away from the west. Partly cloudy in the east, St Helens and Swansea, 14 degrees, 13 the top for Whitemark, with a possible shower. Wednesday, fine apart from a possible shower over the northwest, another frost and fog possible. Showers developing on Thursday, moving across the state, missing the northeast though. And on Friday, a possible shower over the west, far south and Bass Strait. Cloudy over the central north and east, with snow to 400 metres. Partly cloudy in Perth and 21. 21 also for Adelaide. Melbourne 15, partly cloudy, and 18 degrees in Sydney. A possible shower for Brisbane. 9 degrees in Hobart at the moment and partly cloudy. 8 in Launceston, Devonport currently 9 degrees, Joe. Another cooling down tonight.
It's not what we want. Thank you, Murph. That's all from the team. See you a bit later.